A few days later, after hundreds of copies have been handed out,
Good afternoon, thank you.
He agrees to the McCann's lawyer's demand not to distribute this latest leaflet. They didn't want to talk to us about Tony Bennett's campaign, but on the third anniversary of Madeleine's disappearance, Jerry and Kate McCann seem to allude to the foundation.
You know, even to this day, there are people who are convinced that you had something to do with it. How on earth do you deal with that?
I think it's changed. Certainly we don't get the same level of criticism that we did. And even then, to be fair, it was the minority, really. I think most people, even if, you know, they don't agree with you know, what we did, then they wouldn't feel it right or fair to add to our suffering. But having said that, I think there's just a small minority now, and, you know, there's a certain group out there who this is their job, really, is to pick on a vulnerable family, and I'm sure after us they'll move on to another family.
I think she meant you.
I didn't hear that. I don't know whether she meant us or not, but we are focused on this particular case. My focus is on the truth. The other members and supporters of the Madeleine Foundation is exactly the same. I haven't got any history of pursuing individuals.
Tony Bennett previously tried and failed to bring a private prosecution against the McCanns for child neglect. In 2006, he attempted to mount a private prosecution of Michael Barrymore in relation to the night Stuart Lubbock died at the TV entertainer's home, another high-profile case at the centre of a media frenzy. Tony Bennett first came to prominence by taking direct action over the metrification of signs.
The majority of people don't want to see kilometres and metres on our road signs.
A cause which won a lot of support.
A little bit higher as if you... There you go.
He then began removing road signs to campaign for the reintroduction of old county boundaries.
I think the majority of the public would like to see these signs, "Welcome to Lancashire," on the correct Lancashire border.
Unlike some of his Madeleine Foundation colleagues, he appears to quite like the cameras and notoriety. Last year, he could be clearly seen sat behind Jerry McCann as he gave evidence to a parliamentary subcommittee on the press and privacy. Tony Bennett later posted on the internet,
"It was to send out a quiet message that we are looking over his shoulder, checking out what he and his team are saying, watching them."
I think for me, it's about responsibility and reporting truth and not making innuendo and speculation appear as fact.
I wonder how some of them can live with themselves.
If it is certain that she was abducted, then we are adding to their anguish.
And does that not bother you? You're a father, you're a grandfather.
I'm persuaded that there are still questions to be answered, and as I say, and I've got to be careful what I say, but I do question their version of events and whether in fact Madeleine was abducted, as do many other people.
But you don't know what happened. I don't know.
No, I don't.
And only those responsible truly know what happened.
I agree. So we don't know what happened, so why can't we say, why can't we... after all, if I'm making bad points, if we're making bad points on our website, they can be challenged and refuted easily, can't they?
The internet is awash with forums and message boards about Madeleine. Some of these sites have seen threats of violence made towards the McCanns and their family home here at Rothley. Inside Out understands that the police have become involved in the past. People who post on these forums describe themselves as pro and anti-McCann. Those connected with the Madeleine Foundation have also been subject to threats.
12:30 one night, my phone rang, and I was told I'd be stabbed in front of my son, straight through my heart. I phoned the police. I've had other threats.
The Madeleine Foundation has come to London. They're delivering more letters to both the Portuguese and British governments.
So what happens? We knock on the door, somebody comes and receives it. Okay, yeah.
The latest leaflet that they'd agreed to stop distributing has made a comeback.
Well, we've had a rethink on that. We see no reason why we shouldn't distribute it. We weren't threatened with any libel action or anything like that. We took a decision 3 months ago not to distribute it, but we've reconsidered and see no reason why we shouldn't distribute it, especially on Gonzalo Amaral's birthday.
But in July, the McCann's lawyers, Carter Ruck, had threatened to take Tony Bennett back to the High Court. Their letter felt that the former solicitor had failed to grasp how libel laws work.
If you want any further information, I'll contact details on the back.
And it said they'd also pursue any other members of the foundation who delivered the leaflets. But our 2 remaining Rothley leafleters didn't go to London. Grenville Green and his wife Helene Davis Green have stepped down from the foundation committee after she was described by The Sun as a sicko who distributes vile leaflets.
Most people will avoid these because some of them are poisonous.
She was back in the public eye as she stood as a UKIP candidate in the general election.
Apparently, throwing out the odd insult isn't breaking their code of conduct.
It's an example of free speech that her husband doesn't like. At the beginning of the year, Grenville Green went to Portugal to attend a court hearing about Gonzalo Amaral's controversial book.
Why am I here? It's freedom of speech, isn't it? If someone has a difference of opinion to someone else, you shouldn't have lots of money to close you down and shut you up and make you quiet if you've got a difference of opinion. This is why I'm here. It's freedom of speech, freedom of expression.
Is your book hurting the McCanns, sir? Digger? Is your book hurting the McCanns? No.
This man, is a folk hero, is sort of a modern-day Robin Hood, if you like. It's like a David and Goliath fight. If something's right, you know it's right. If something's wrong, you know it's wrong.
There are always going to be those who entirely believe the McCann's account and regard me as evil and perverted for what I'm doing. On the other hand, there are those who have got legitimate questions and fully support what we're doing.
Earlier this month, the McCanns launched an online petition calling for the investigation into their daughter's disappearance to be independently reviewed.
There's absolutely no evidence that Madeleine has been seriously harmed, so without that we've got to believe that we can still find her. It's difficult, we know that, and that's why we're asking for help. We need assistance and the authorities need to do more.
Last week the McCanns revealed that they are now writing their own book. In a statement on their website, Kate McCann said, "My reason for writing is simple, to give an account of the truth." Just like that GMTV interview, I can't help but feel that that was partly aimed at the Madeleine Foundation.